Hi, this is Jack Scott here, coming to you. Today we have an Uberti 45 long Colt, and both of us can see. Really great gun, super light trigger, very pretty with the case hardened steel. I didn't know this, but all of the replicas you can take apart the entire thing down to every screw with a flathead screwdriver. I thought that was just kind of funny and cool. This is a 5.5-inch barrel. You can tell because of how far it comes past the bullet extractor. You know, when you run out, you can't. The cylinder does not just pop out with a button like a Smith & Wesson. You have to go like this, and that pin comes out, and you have to kick each round out. So you have to click, kick it, click, kick it. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, you know, it's a really good Colt replica when you pull the hammer back and it says this: C-O-L-T, Colt. Or, smile and wait for the flash. Haha, I thought that was funny, huh? Saw that on a poster one time at a fair, smile and wait for the flash, and it was on the rim of a barrel. And I thought, wow, my Colt, or my Uberti says that when I cock it. Also, you feeling lucky, punk? I'll let you guys know what movie that came from. Anyways, it's one of those guns that you cannot carry with 6 rounds in your cylinder because the hammer, or not the hammer, the firing pin is on the hammer. That right there, thing sticking out, that is what hits the primer of your bullet. So if you were to have a round in your cylinder, even if you let it down nice and easy, it will rest almost just a tad bit back. It'll sit like that. Instead of being all the way down, it'll come back like that because it is sitting on a primer. And if you hit it or bump it very easily, it seems, which I kind of did some testing with it. I loaded up some blank just primers and just bumped it with my hand a couple times, and boom, it went off. And I was very surprised about that. Anyways, what else was I going to say? It's a modern remake because it's got the screw right here. I got some really poor lighting. As you can see, this screw right here, you push it in and out, and it's on a spring, and that's how you pull the pin out, and you disassemble it. I probably won't take it apart on video today, just for time concerns. I'm not really in a hurry, but I was planning on cleaning this, and I've got the Mosin over here covered in Cosmoline. I planned on doing that today, too. Also, I'd already brought you guys the XD in the same day. 2 videos in the same day. Pretty crazy, huh? Anyways, the case hardened steel, very cool. Let you guys have kind of a really close look at it. That case hardened steel, I mean, I know the video really can't do it justice. I mean, it is just beautiful. This whole frame right here in case hardened steel, I mean, it's just very good looking. And the trigger, I cannot say enough about it. I'm guessing after I got this new sear spring put in it, 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds. I don't have a scale, but I'm telling you, it is light. I mean, you think about it going off, or maybe shake it a couple times, it'll go off. No, you guys probably didn't fall for that. No, you don't just shake it a couple times and it goes off. But, I mean, if you pull it back, you better mean about pulling the trigger because it's going to want it to go off. Let you guys have a closer look at that trigger, how smooth it is and short. As you can see, no play, it just went off. I mean, no play at all. It doesn't go anywhere. I mean, I barely even pull. I mean, I'm just touching it. I mean, I bounce my finger back and forth on it, and boom. When you just try and go like that, it goes off. And I'm doing that very lightly. Now, one thing I will tell you is this thing is heavy. I mean, when you have it in your hand, I've got a gun. I mean, this is like, I can't imagine hitting people in the head with it, but I mean, it's got a big head and big handle, and it is heavy as all get out. It's not like so heavy you're walking around going, ugh. I mean, it's not like Desert Eagle heavy or anything like that. But it's got a really nice grip. Some people say that it's too small, but, you know, I'm not that big. I'm only like almost 6 foot, 5'11". But I've got some pretty big hands, as you can see. I mean, I'm kind of a freak. I've got big hands. But, I mean, even with my pretty large hands, I'm still got a little bit of room right here to go before I'm to the bottom. And like on my Beretta 92FS, my hand almost falls off the bottom. If I don't have a mag in it, my pinky's he's hanging for a rod. I mean, he's dangling. If I've got a mag, I can just barely get my pinky on there. I mean, me on a Beretta 92FS is like probably a normal man on a XDS. I mean, I've got big hands. It's kind of freakish. They're bony though, as you can see. They're not very thick, but still huge hands. Anyways, really light trigger, very smooth, very fun to shoot. I'm kind of an automatic guy. When I got this thing, I put my finger out here like that on the trigger guard because when you shoot like the XD, which I have right here, make sure it's clear. It has grips right here. See the nudge? So when you hold it, you're supposed to put this finger right here that I'm wiggling up there so that you get a more solid hold, and when your recoil happens, you can pull back down. Now, on some of my other guns that are like this, that don't have anything right there, it's just smooth, I still do that, just habit. And man, I put my finger up there, and I was wearing gloves even, and because of the spray that you get, it doesn't actually spray lead or anything, it's just because in between your barrel and your cylinder, there is a little tiny gap, and when your bullet jumps through there, you lose some gas. They say it's only like 10%, so you're not really losing power, but if you have your finger under it, it's going to be, oh wow, I just got burnt by my gun. That was surprising. And if your timing gets off, that's where your cylinder doesn't stay still, and it's not lined up with the barrel. It shoots little shavings of lead at you because your bullet is jumping into the barrel in that gap, and in between there and that gap, the barrel is not lined up with your bullet, so slice, it shoots hot lead down at you, or to the guy next to you. If you're shooting like this and there's somebody standing right there, and let's say it was the map, I'm shooting inside, which I wouldn't be doing, it would probably put some holes in the map because some hot lead would be flying out. Anyways, I put my finger there, and wow, something just happened to my finger. It moved. I did it again, then I looked at my glove, and I was wearing some leather gloves, like these, pigskin leather gloves, and it had, like, black soot on my finger, and then I realized I held it one-handed and shot. Oh, yeah, it's a revolver. It's shooting gas outside. Duh, I'm not much of a revolver guy, but I do own a couple revolvers, mostly small calibers. I've got a 357 and 38 Special. I suppose that's not really a small caliber, but, got some other guns, and it was just kind of a, whoa, that just happened. And with the Smith & Wesson, I put my hand down. I mean, I generally don't hold like this, but the Smith I've got has a very large handle that it's like I can't really even hardly like get a really positive grip on it. I never have been. It's a really old, I think it's like the Highway Patrolman model. It's a 6.25 inch. I think maybe it's just 6 inches flat. Just kind of a heavier gun, so I always put my hand down. On this thing, though, it's got that small grip, so I went to hold it like that and got that pleasant surprise. Anyways, the sights on it, they call them tombstone sights because the back of the gun shaped kind of like a tombstone. I noticed that they're not the greatest, but on the other hand, you can see them. If it's daylight, you can see it, and I shoot this thing probably better than every other pistol I own. It's very easy to shoot with that light trigger. 45 long Colt is kind of hard to come by. I've been shooting my favorite so far. I'd hope to get into reloading someday soon, but my favorite so far is just lead ball ammo. This is by Magtech, and flat-nosed, and pretty big sucker, huh? I mean, compared to a 45 ACP, that's a pretty large bullet. I mean, it's the same size bullet, but a lot more case, really no more powder in it than a 45 ACP. But the reason they're so large is because, I hope some of you guessed it, back then there was no smokeless powder. It was all black powder, the legitimate gunpowder, as some would say. And this is a holster, a single-sided right-hand draw, so I'm a right-handed, with a leg tassel tie and big silver buckle on it. This is courtesy of Lucky Levi. Of course, it wasn't free, but it was not the most expensive either. I think it ran me like, $120-some. It's not the most perfect holster ever. I didn't have it fitted to me or anything crazy, but really great holster. I like it so far. Also, as you guys can probably see, is the Klotz, not Colts, the Klotz banner up there. Klotz is a racing oil, and then of course the funny whiz sign, the map, the EFI box to a Mercury outboard, some tags to go to a boat race, my dad's pilot license, and the first year of CR250 number plate. And of course, back then, they had the radiator up top, so it has the cooling area where all your air can get forced into your radiator and cool your engine, if you know how that works. Um, Maybe one day I'll do a tour of the man cave, the garage that I'm always hanging out in. Even today, there's nobody home, but still in the garage. Um, Anyways, yeah, you control a long Colt or any single action gun because, once it's down, there's nothing going to happen. So you can twirl it all day and not get hurt. Hopefully you don't drop it, which I've never dropped it, but I hope I never do because it's so pretty. It's probably the most pretty gun I own. And for the low price of $400, you can't beat it, With tax, it was like $429. I mean, how can you go into a store and buy a gun that looks this great and is this nostalgic and such a good replica? Or actually, more or less, it's a copy. It's not even a replica. It's so, dimension-wise, it's so perfect that I would call it a copy. They had an actual Colt in there at Buckeye where I got this. And actually, no, I got this at Field and Stream, which is a spoof off of Buck Outdoors, Vance's Outdoors. I don't know if it's Vance's Outdoors, it's just Vance's in Columbus. But now Field and Stream, which is probably the coolest of the three, but doesn't have as much gun selection as Buck Outdoors. Anyways, this gun, $400, $429. I got this at Field and Stream. Same thing as Buck Outdoors, though. You go into Buck Outdoors and say, hey, I bought a gun for you guys. They'll go, oh, yeah, really? And they'll look on their computer and say, yeah, you did buy a gun from us. Well, actually, I bought it at Field and Stream, but it's the same difference. Anyways, super smooth, super great, and for $429, and that's total cost with tax, everything, you cannot beat this. I mean, come on. It's beautiful. The wood grain is really, it pops out. The shape of your handle, you think it looks very foreign and odd compared to all these XDs and Glocks and Berettas, all these other gun companies, Springfields, just 1911s in general. The Beretta PX4 Storm. All these other guns that have a grip shaped more like this and a little bit of a cant to the slide, and they're just kind of blocky, straight with a little bit of grip. This thing, you think it looks uncomfortable, but I'll tell you what, when I have this thing, I've got it. No one's taking it away. Really positive grip, really smooth action. It's just quality built. You'd think that you'd have a Smith & Wesson in your hand for the way that this thing feels. And for that low price, I'm not afraid of dry firing it with that hammer or the pin on the hammer. Yeah, now I hold it like this, of course. Another thing is going both eyes open. If you are a person that's shooting one eye closed, generally isn't the best thing for you. You want to go kind of both eyes open, so you've got a little bit more of a field of view, and once you train yourself to be one eye dominant, let's say you're left-handed, generally you might be left eye dominant, just close your right eye like you normally would, then slowly open, then close it, and then slowly open, and eventually you should be able to keep it so that your sight picture is clear, and you've got both eyes open. So you look through it with one eye, and the other eye is just kind of dangling, but you're still seeing your sight picture, and you're still looking around normal. Doing it with this is kind of a challenge. It's not like the XD or any other rifle where the sights really pop out. It's kind of hard to get a view on it. It's a pretty small little notch right there, as you can see. There's your sight picture on it. Compared to the XDM, that's a lot easier to go both eyes open. Of course, the white dots on it too. It's pretty easy to pick up on. You line the dots up and shoot. This thing, you've got the tombstone looking shape. Of course, it's kind of is shaped. This area right here, get this lined up. They used to call it tombstone because that's kind of shaped like a tombstone, your sighting area, and it's part of your frame. Doesn't bother me. It hasn't seemed to bother anybody else that I've talked to. But getting both eyes open, kind of more of a challenge. That's a little bit harder. Anyways, this is Jack Scott coming to you with Uberti, and have a nice day. Goodbye. Oh, and of course, thanks for watching.